Arizona lost its final home game 38-29 to number 24 Utah. It was a 2-point game until the last 2 minutes when Utah ran it in and scored a touchdown. Jedd Fisch, Anthony Pandy, and Stanley Berryhill give us their thoughts on today's game.
You know, we've been banged up all year. As we all know, we've been banged up all last game. And you got two options when you are where we are. You either say, I'm going to fight to get back, or you're going to say, maybe I'll try to take one more week. And you saw our team today, and every single player that could play played. And they battled all week long in practice to find a way, extra treatment. Some guys didn't practice but yet played. Some guys couldn't play, the whole deal. And you just see how committed our team is to playing hard, to doing everything they can to try to find a way for a win. That was the most upset I've seen our locker room in a while. And I think it was because, you know, they just feel like we're there now. And now all of a sudden when you're there and you're playing games against, you know, the last four weeks we've played, you know, now you walk off the field, you go into the game with an expectation of winning. And when you go into a game with the expectation of winning, you walk off the field with a little more, you know, a little bit bad taste in your mouth. And I love our guys, the way they talked in the locker room. Berryhill, Castillo both did great messages to the team about these final two that we've got coming up. Obviously, we know Utah was going to be a very good football team. We saw what they did last week against Stanford. We saw what they did the week before. You know, they're playing very good football, and our guys matched them head-to-head on every single play. So credit to our guys. Credit to our special teams. Huge punt block for a touchdown. Our defense, I thought, had a really good game. They got some big-time stops at the right time. We had a couple costly penalties at the end of the half and at the end of the game. But I'll say, you know, penalties were way down. I think we had 5 on the game. We had no turnovers. It was our first game with not turning the football over. We just got to be smarter. We had a 4th down that we didn't get early in the game, and obviously in 2 minutes, the ball has to be passed. You can't just take sacks and check the ball down. But this is a learning curve, and every opportunity we have is to teach, and that's what we got to do, and that's what we get paid to do.
Questions? Who wants to go first? Michael.
What was the intent on the 2-point play, and how did it come in?
Yeah, we were trying to run a variation of, you know, a run-pass option where, you know, Berryhill was going to try to snap, you know, flip it to Wiley. Wiley was going to flip it back to Will. Will was trying to go out in the end zone. They played cover 2. They've shown more blitz 0 in that situation. So, you know, at that point in time, what happened was we wound up having a celebration that we blocked the punt, and then we have to take a timeout to get the personnel right. Then we're missing a guy because Tavion got hurt, so we had to put somebody else in the game. And then, you know, we were hopeful that that corner was going to bite up and try to tackle Wiley when he was coming around in the double reverse and flip it over the top to Will. But that just didn't get executed. Kind of whatever you want to call it, a Philly-type special of some nature.
Greg, you've said your goal is to be a tough out. Do you think this was an example of that?
I think the last 4 games have been an example of when you play us, you better be ready to play. I think Washington knows that. I think SC knows that. Cal knew it, and I think Utah felt that as well. It certainly was clear. It's 31-29 with 6.5 minutes left in the game. And then, you know, they wind up having a 4-minute drive. They scored it's a 2-point game. It's a 2-point game, and we're, you know, going for 2 to tie the game up. I absolutely believe that we are a tough out. And soon the tough outs are going to become tough wins, and tough wins for us are going to become hopefully bigger wins than that as we continue on this journey.
Yes, the defense, they looked like they kind of got worn down or just couldn't get off the field in the second half. Did you feel like Utah is kind of jabbing away and maybe wearing you guys down?
Well, I mean, I think this. I think Utah ran for 460 yards last week. They ran for 160 this week. They ran for 294 the week before. They're really good, and you're not going to just get them off the field on every time. And when you have to tackle runners, and the way we coach is I want to see 11 guys running the ball on every play. And if you're going to play like that, you are going to be a little tired sometimes. But we substitute. We got guys playing extremely hard. We got guys coming in and out. And I think we saw, even the final drive. I mean, it's a 2nd and 15. They wind up hitting a slash run and calling a face mask there. But other than that, I think that really, they hit us on some scramble plays. They hit us on an option play. Quarterback did a nice job on a quarterback, toss crack play where he kept it kind of very similar to the play we ran with B.J. Castile and actually early in the season with Jordan McLeod against Oregon. But, they're a good team, and I would expect that type of battle, and both teams were pretty tired at the end of the game.
The fact that the guys were mad in the locker room and upset, did that kind of put a smile on your face? Did that please you?
No, after a loss, there's not much that'll put a smile on my face. But what I will say is what pleased me is the fact that our guys are so committed to making this thing right, that they are just so want to be a part of the change, that you've got guys that are coming up to me, the Trey Masons, the Anthony Pandy, saying they wish they had another year, versus the other deal where it's, this is time for me to go. And when you hear that from the captains and from the guys that want to be a part of it, it makes you feel like you got something really special that's brewing. And, I think what we'll have here in the next year or two will be.
Yeah, you just seen, the game was down to the wire for the most of the part. And we know that we could have won that game as easily as we lost it. So, yeah, of course, people are going to be upset. And now we just got to work on executing and pay attention to the details. So when it does come down to the wire like that, we'll come out on the other side.
Anthony, do you feel like the defense kind of got worn down a little bit in the fourth quarter?
Nah, I don't think that we got worn down at all. I feel like that last drive, they called that face mask call, and that kind of messes up a little bit too. But I don't think we got worn down at all. Defense, I feel like sometimes we just hurt ourselves.
And that last drive was like 8 minutes, 24 seconds. What does a drive like that just kind of do for you guys?
Defensively, it don't really matter how long we're on the field. We're not trying to depend on anybody, but we just trying to make plays. We trying to get the ball back to the offense, trying to get the ball out, trying to get stopped.
If this was your last game here, Stanley, and you did participate in the ceremonies and so forth, do you feel like you played with pride and put on a good show for the fans, even in defeat today as a team?
As a team, we played for, we had 30 seniors around there, or something like that. So it was an emphasis that we're playing for the seniors, regardless if it's their last game or if they have opportunity to come back. And we know that we had to put it all out for them because it's their last game in the stadium, and you never know. I think we gave it our all. I don't think we held back anything.
Who else?
What was supposed to happen on the 2-point play if it had worked the way it was supposed to?
Pitch to me, pitch to Mike Wiley. Either Mike had to run it or throw the ball to Will in the end zone, and they covered it well. And Mike tried to get what he could, and it just didn't work out the way we thought it was.
So there is a version of that where Will actually leaks into the end zone, because it kind of looked like he ended up blocking.
He ended up blocking. Yeah, he said he saw some players just waiting at the end zone and seen him run a route, so he did what I thought was a good idea and tried to pick up a block for Mike so he's not out there hanging dry,
Alec.
Stanley, the play where you took the direct snap and then threw it back to Will, who threw it to Wiley, what was kind of the inspiration behind that? Was that practice this week?
Yeah, we've been practicing it all season. I think we had it in during BYU. It was set up a little bit different where I wasn't throwing it to Will. It was somebody else throwing it to Will. But, we practiced it all year, and we finally got to execute it.
And then Coach Fisch said you and some of the other seniors gave a little bit of a message to the team after the game. What was said amongst the veterans to the younger guys?
Just staying together and don't fall apart and point fingers. We're on the right track, even though the scoreboard doesn't always show it. You could just tell that we're on the right track as a program.